I kind of wanted to get back to Compass tools today, and just something that I've been using. I mean, I always said I'd keep it real with you guys. So this is just something that's been very helpful with me this past week. We had randomly like 6 accepted offers in 1 week between my mom and I, which we work on pretty much everything together. So we were very, very busy. So I was relying on Compass tools a lot. I'm not being paid to say this. I really did use all my Compass tools. But one of them that I wanted to talk about with you guys, that some people, if you haven't already heard me on another panel or just talking to you guys specifically, is how many different things I use collections for. So we don't have to do this, but I wanted to kind of share with you guys just what got me through this week with listing new things, that going into contract, giving buyers comps, giving sellers comps before they accepted the offer, like all this kind of stuff. So would that be helpful for you guys if I went through that a little bit? Okay, cool. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'll start. I mean, I use collections for a lot of different things. So like the 3 main things I use for this week, but I mean, there's so many different things. I think a lot of people really just use them for their buyers when I talk to a lot of people. And I love sharing this with them because it can be such a helpful tool, being able to really comment and giving people more of like something that's visually appealing to look at rather than just like the data right there. And I like that it can be very interactive. So I'll use it obviously for my buyers. That's like the first thing I always set them up on every single time. It's not even like I miss it once. And then I also use it for a CMA for them, which I'll show you guys today before they go into contract on something, because I think it's really helpful instead of just like sending a list of the comps to be able to put my 2 cents in there and say, here's the nuances between this property and something else, because in a lot of our areas, specifically, I'll choose it as an example, the one that I'm selling in, there are like 5 different, Leslie, I will get to why I don't use the CMA tool on that. So there's like a lot of different nuances between 4 different sections of this one school district, and the prices will really, really change because they're like 35 minutes apart, meaning like 35 minutes from the school, which is crazy. So that's something I love to leave on there. Why I don't use the CMA tool for that specifically with my buyers is I really like it to be interactive. So when you send a CMA to somebody, you've sent it and now you're leaving it with them to create their own narrative about it. And I think that's something that I've learned from doing that before. I definitely did try to do that. I don't like for my buyers to control the conversation. And I think that when you give people data like that, they can make their own assumptions in their own head. I would much rather give it to them and also be able to set up a call and go through the CMA with them. And at the very least, leave comments in there. You can do this on the CMA tool. I'm pretty sure you can leave comments, but I just think a collection, because my buyers are already so used to using them, giving them a tool that they're already on, just setting up like a new collection, is very user-friendly for them across all different age groups. So like maybe my millennial clients could have figured out the CMA thing, but then I know them. They're going to go on and say, oh, well, this is, in this section. And like, I know the difference between why that one sold for $100,000 less, but they don't. So being able to comment on that and having it all be right in there, they can see everything. And they can also scroll through all the pictures. When you guys think of the CMA tool, I love it. And I think it's great to bring it to a listing presentation at a minimum, but you also have to understand you can only pick like 6 pictures from there. The data is a little bit hard to follow if you don't look at that every day. So for us, it's very user-friendly. For our clients, I try to put myself in their shoes. So I'll go through how I do that with them. And then what else I do? And then I'll also do this for my sellers. So I will bring them a CMA, but I love to set them up on basically the identical CMA that I just add in the listings into the collection. And I do the same thing. I comment on it. I leave it all there. This way they can always go back and refer back to it. And the best part about this is that I set up basically like review and handpick, but I'll selectively add in certain ones as they come on the market, which makes it a very, very, very fluid collection throughout the entirety while they're on the market. This has been very helpful as the market has shifted for me, because one of my listings that's been on the market for 75 days at this point, I think I've been talking to you guys since before this, since I was running like my last accountability group, same listing, still hasn't moved, but it has been much easier for me to be able to show and not tell. And this is the biggest difference between how I work a lot with like my clients. I really don't like to be like, hey, this is Kate's spin on it. What I say goes. This is what the market is telling me. You get it as I receive it. And when they receive it, it's kind of like, if you guys all have showing time, I don't know if that's in every single market, but it's like them receiving the feedback right after, instead of us always saying, it's the backyard, it's the backyard, it's the backyard. they get it right in there and they get the information themselves. So that's how we become the bad guys, in my opinion, is by always continuously being the bearer of bad news. Let the collection do that. Let the market tell them what just came on the market. And then I review and handpick, but to them, they think it's an automatic search. So they think it just went in there. So this is how you can really use it to do a little bit of like reverse psychology with your clients, in my opinion. So that is what I'll do in there.
Can I ask a question, Cate?
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you are setting up those collections, then you don't have your buyers or your sellers automatically updated. You go through those and then you keep control of that, and then you update the collection, correct?
Exactly. Yep. So it'll give me, so that's like a biggest thing. I have never, ever had a collection do automatic. I think that is one of like the most detrimental things that could ever happen, because you're automatically putting it in there. Control your own narrative. There's a chance they're going to see it on Zillow, but if, for instance, if my buyers are putting in an offer on something and then like the most contradictory comp comes on, in their eyes, even maybe it isn't, that could blow up a deal just because you didn't have that filter between you and the client. So I really like to do review and handpick. I go on my collections every single day, and it'll send me whatever the emails too. So like I can see in between the MLS and that, it's not that much that comes on. Usually I have my collections pretty narrowed down. So I'll know to go in and add it, but it is one more step for you. But in my opinion, it's much better than having something pop in there and then blow up the deal.
Right.
So that's something that I always do. And it's really, really, like, I cannot emphasize enough how helpful this is for some of my sellers, because they're like, oh my God, Cate, did you just see that one come on the collection? I'm like, did I? Yes, I added it, but you don't know that. So, and it sparks a conversation. So like, this is what I do a lot with like my buyer toolbox email. If you use that, it just starts a conversation without you having to say, we need a price adjustment. Let them have it, have the information. And most of the time you'll be very surprised. They'll drop a comment on it, or they'll start this conversation or initiate that conversation with you saying, hey, do you think this is going to hurt us? What do you think on this? And it opens it up without, again, you being the start of, we need a price reduction, we need a price reduction. My buyer toolbox email, this was from way before. I'm happy to send it out. It doesn't really apply to, I mean, maybe it does in your market. In our market, it was really about when you had to explain to buyers what the different contingencies were, and explaining it to them in a way that was very easy for them to understand and kind of gave them all the tools of things that they could be using to win a bidding war. Maybe it doesn't apply, maybe it does. I've had it apply once, but not every single time. Like that was something I was sending out every single time we made an offer. And when you say filter, so Bob, when you say filter, do you mean that you comment before the update is sent? Bob, do you want to elaborate? I just want to make sure I'm answering your question correctly.
Yeah, so you were saying that you don't allow for automatic updates, but so you could filter it. And I'm just wondering, you mean by filter, you mean comment or not send it? Because if I don't send something and they look at it on Redfin or Zillow or whatever, then I've got a different problem.
Right. So that's another thing. So yes, what I mean by it is that I don't send it. It depends. It's not like I don't intentionally add it. I think you just need to be very strategic about when you do. And I would much rather be in control. I might end up sending something, but I'd rather that not be, if you have like a very high touch client, for instance, and that thing came on the market 9 a.m. on a Monday, and I'm at 3 different things and I can't talk to the client until 3 or 4 o'clock that day. Now I just started up, I kind of opened up a can of worms that didn't need to be opened up at that time. So you at least have control over when these people are getting this stuff. And you'd be very surprised. I think this is something that I can help you guys with too. But when I set my clients up on collections, there's a very, very small chance they're using Zillow or they're using Redfin or anything. I really try to set them up so that they're only using Compass, and more so that they're only using my collection, because they do trust that I'm going to be sending them, everything. Or everything that applies to them. And they also know that if I withhold certain listings, there's a reason for that. So I don't mean to say like I'm withholding it so that like they don't see it and they don't make an offer or anything like that. But sometimes things can really blow up deals that you don't kind of foresee happening. So having control over adding that and then leaving a comment saying, hey guys, this just came on. Can we discuss this? At least you're in control of that instead of leaving it when you can't really talk to them about it. So it could be like a very nuanced situation. Most of the time I'm not, not every listing's going to blow it up. just be a little bit more in control. I would never want my collections being overtaken by the market, which is essentially what you're doing when you're not reviewing and handpicking. Yes. Okay. So that is that. There's one other thing I use them for that I just lost my train of thought. After my buyers close, I will keep them on the same collection, but I change all the filters around to be very, very specific to their neighborhood or their district or something like that, so that they can also keep a really nice pulse on the market. That I will sometimes just do an automatic on, because I don't want to be, if I kept doing that for all my past clients, that's the only thing I would say you can use an automatic search on. But everybody loves to hear what's going on, and having them not have to do that on Zillow and just keeping them connected to Compass sparks such a great conversation. I've had people refer buyers to me just because I've kept them on that, because they say, oh my God, my friend just came over. Now they want to look in the area. Did you see that this house just came on? Can you connect them with that? So keeping them very involved, it doesn't mean that they're getting something. Again, I would make sure that collection is and we can go through this, but make sure that's very specific to their house. This way, they're not just getting every single house that comes on the market. And you can also update their settings. So maybe they only get those alerts once a week instead of every single day. So these are all the different ways that you can use collections. I've seen collections used so poorly, and it makes me sad, because it can be such a helpful thing, but it can also hurt you very, very quickly. So that's why I wanted to go through that today. So I will start with a simple buyers collection. I don't have my clients in these. I just made some kind of basic collections that I can show you guys. Okay.
Kate,
So,
do you ever have a discrepancy between your Compass collections and your MLS?
We used to, but as of like 8 months, I'd say like beginning of the year, we've been pretty on point. It might take it like an extra 15 or 20 minutes to populate in there, but it's hitting Zillow and everything at the same time as we are. So I don't have really any issues of it not coming on. We used to, for sure, where like my listing, for instance, just literally wouldn't show up. I'm like,
right,
hello, it's on the MLS. So that's something that they've been working on a lot. In my market specifically, we're pretty golden on it.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's another thing to know your market, and know how Compass is operating in your market and all that kind of stuff. So this is all based off of me. The Compass technology now works very, very perfect. I mean, really perfectly. I mean, minus like it being down for a few minutes sometimes here and there. So this is based off of it, technology working perfectly too. Okay. So I'm going to do, okay, so I'll go into this one first. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And if I'm ever babbling, please just let me know. Like, just be like, Kate, slow down, or let's move it along, girlfriend. You just let me know. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to pull up the chat as well. So, okay, so this is an example of one of my buyer collections. So very, very standard. These are my awesome clients who have like a 4-week-old. They're so cute. And we are going into contract on something tomorrow. So pretty standard, but you guys will see. This is just something I have seen, like if I'm ever helping out agents in my office, sometimes they'll ask me to help out with this stuff. So one thing I always see is like in the shared part here, sometimes people will have like 85 listings or 100 listings in there. You really want to make sure you're keeping these very, very clean for people. I happen to be very OCD. So when I go in here, like for this, for example, 30 West, when I put this in here, it was not pending. So I would trash this right now. I don't want them to be in there and seeing that. If you have a client who really wants to see how things are moving, fine. But for the most part, have control and have ownership over how you work in the collections. If you set the tone from the beginning, they're not going to care. So anything that's pending, I'd probably want to clean out. I mean, they're going into contracts on something, so I haven't really been in here too much, but like I would delete all of these. This way I only have 7 shared listings with them. So I don't want to be too, like whatever, generic here, but unshared means the ones that have not, the client can't see. Shared is what the client can see. If you don't have these settings on in here, when you set up your collection, you'd set it as automatic instead of review and handpick. Does that make sense? Or are there questions on that? We're good. Okay. So I would go in here. You'll probably see we have comments in here. Pooja, my client. Yeah.
Can I actually ask you a question?
Yeah. Please.
So when I've set these up before, I know I'm doing something wrong because they're
Okay.
really static. So there is no automatic. Like I could go in and I could see something on MLS and then go in and search it and add it, but there wouldn't be any unshared ones. So I don't know if anybody else is having that issue, but I'm not really sure how to set it up correctly from the start.
Would it be helpful if I just went pretty quickly and made a random collection, like basically duplicated this collection and showed you guys how I do it from the start?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do it quickly. If you guys already know it, then go scroll on Instagram or something. Okay, so you guys can see this. I'm on the main Compass screen, went right to the magnifying glass right here. Work for me. Okay. So what I would do, it's going to show you all the listings that are in your market, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then I'm going to go into show criteria right here. I'm going to do coming soon and active. This is what my MLS looks like. So this is going to probably mimic your MLS system, but I think they're pretty similar. So 1 second, Greta's eating her whole entire puppy pad. I'll be right back. And this is my life. Okay. So I'm in here for them. They're looking up to like 1, 2. So I'll do 1, 2 minus. They wanted 3+ bedrooms. So I'll do that. And then they wanted in Katona Lewisboro. So again, add in anything else here. If they only want whatever, colonial, do that. So I have 24 results. When I'm in here, I always do it like this, just so I can see, make sure it all populated correctly. Yes, everything looks great in here. Okay. So the most important thing that you're going to do next is you're going to go up to save search and you're going to save it as a collection. So you'll do this. I'll add in Corinne, but pretend it was actually my whatever. I'd probably do it a little bit more specific. So I say Corinne Novak's Katona Lewisboro. My mom is going to be so confused after this. School district. Search. Make it specific so that you also can know. Some people will just put like Northern Westchester home search, but then they have like 10 clients who are looking in Northern Westchester. So make sure you know what it's looking like. The alert schedule, this is where I forget who was just talking to me, but this is where it's going to be the biggest thing for you. So you're going to change it from automatic. That's the default. So you're going to change it to review and handpick which to share. And then here's where you can share how often people get it. So you'll do create collection. And that's it. So now you'll see that everything that's unshared. So right now, Corinne's not in it. It's just me, but I have all these unshared ones. So I'd go in and I'd say, yes, she'd like that one. It's right on the lake. Great. This is my listing. Go sell it. This is also my listing. Go sell it. Whatever. Let's just say I liked all of these. Okay. All these other ones didn't work for my client. I know that for whatever reason. I'm going to trash them because I don't want to be, every time that unshared gets 1, 2, or 3, I want to make sure, okay, those are the ones I need to look at. If you don't clean out your unshared, you're going to end up with hundreds of listings there by the time you're done with your buyer. So I always make sure this is as clean as possible. I'm not perfect, but as clean as possible. So then I'll go into shared. So now this is everything that Corinne, my buyer, can see. So she doesn't see this unshared. She doesn't see the trash either. She's just going to see the shared. I'm pretty sure she didn't see the trash. So then I'd go in here, leave a few comments, blah, blah, blah. So now every single time you get a listing that just came on the market, it will automatically populate to you in the unshared, but until you share it with your client, they won't see it. Does that make sense?
It does. Do you have to go and invite the client, or when you named it, did that invite her?
No, you have to go and manually invite them. At least in my region, I've asked them why, but I think it's maybe just like one extra step to make sure that your collection is ready by the time you invite your client. I actually don't mind that because there's sometimes where I'm like just setting it up, but I haven't had time to go clean it out. So by the time it's actually ready, now I'll go in and I'll invite Corinne.
Okay.
And then she'll be invited to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So does that make sense for everybody? Any questions on that before I move on?
That was really helpful. Thank you.
Good.
So
Okay.
Kate, when I use collections all the time, but I go in and I find my list and then I go over to, oh wait, it's because I'm using CMA and we're using collections. I've got to retrain my brain. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Kate, I have a quick question.
Who wants to go fight over me?
I
Okay,
have
you go first.
Whoever wants to.
Okay, I have a question. I'm Jane from Syosset, Long Island office.
Hi.
Thank you, Kate. I saw you share the pick out listing to this particular buyer, but then you don't have how do you share it? Means, how did you share it? Do you need to have her 2 names on the top? Yeah, where it says invite, next to you have 2 names, right?
Up here?
Yes, you have here on that. But how do you share when you deleted all the listing which are not good and you only share the picked out, the selected one? So does your buyer get, when you click on the share, do they get right away the listing?
Yes. If that's how you have their
Profile setup.
profile set up, if you have it on immediately, then they'll get it immediately. So if it's here, I'm not going to do this because this is actually one of my buyers' collections, but let's say I wanted to share with them to Southwind Drive, I would click share and then it'll go directly to them.
Oh, okay. I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Was there another question, Lisa, I think?
Yeah, Malene, Whidbey Island, Washington State. Real quick question, and the gal before me was very close to my question as well.
Okay.
When you were doing that collection setup for us, there was 4 in the bucket that it looked to me like you had not sent, but it seems to me at this point, once you hit share, it automatically goes to the client from there when we're screening it first. But
Right.
the option to provide a comment doesn't come up until after you hit share.
Right. Yep, exactly.
Okay. So you hit share and then you put your comments in?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I'll share it and then I'll just go and leave my comment in there, right here, whatever it is.
Outstanding. It's nice because you can put it in per listing and
Right.
not for the whole mass. So that's great.
Right.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just so you guys know, if you wanted to leave, I never personally use this, but I know a lot of people do. If you wanted to do like a discussion in here, you could go and leave comments in the discussion, which would be more not nuanced to each listing. That would be for the entire collection. So you can do that. I just happen to usually have like a text group chat or email, something set up with my clients. So I'd rather do any other outside of the listings. I'd rather talk to them elsewhere. Makes it a little bit easier. Lisa, do you have a question? I know you have your hand raised.
Yes. Do you set it up as a search first before you go into a collection? Because I usually do that. I set up the search and then from the search, I set up a collection.
I think it ends up, I want to use the right terminology. So let me just do.
I usually do a search and then from there I pick the things and then set up the collection.
So I set it up as a collection.
Okay.
Myself, because I don't have, like, if I did save search, I don't think that gives me, I think that just is a save search for me, like a market watch, essentially. I think these are kind of the same thing. So I just do a collection because it's basically, I know it's hard to like follow me guys, but like, it's basically a save search within a collection already. So like when you go into any of my collections here, like we'll just go back into theirs, I can edit their criteria in here. So like, to me, that's kind of a save search. Does that make sense? Like that's kind of a save.
I mean, I do a save search and then I mean, maybe I don't have more control that way because I also control the narrative. And
Yeah.
So I'll set up a save search and then click and then from there set up a collection. And then I get a response, I'll get an email about my saved searches and then look through and then decide what to add.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's double
To
work.
me, it kind of sounds like double work. I don't do a lot of saves. I used to do, I don't have them set up anymore because I actually didn't really know what I was doing until I figured this all out, like all of us. But this just seems to be like the easiest for me. I still get the notifications to my email when a new thing comes on. So that's it. It's also just become such like a, whatever. It's all part of my routine to go in, check my collections for the day. Like that's all part of my time block. So to me, it doesn't even matter if they're giving me a notification or not. I know I'm going to check it. So to me, this is easier. This is how I do it. Like I always say, this is how I do it. I'm not Compass God over here. So do what works best for you guys. Just get the listings out to your clients. So, all right. So that is that. And I'm happy to do this again next week, or I could tell what just happened, or I can tell Chirag to go through a session maybe on this stuff too. So that is my buyer. That's a simple buyer collection. So now I'm going to just stay on the same topic. So they picked a house from that collection. Now they're going into contract on it. So I actually had another one set up for them, but I just wanted to give you guys this just for privacy because they were commenting a lot in it. So this is basically what I would have. This doesn't have anybody in it. You would invite, same exact way, you would invite your clients to this. The only difference is here, I don't have any like criteria or anything set up because I didn't set it up that way. So I basically just set it up as a collection, and then I have the listings that I chose are here. This doesn't need, because this doesn't need to be like a fluid collection, if that makes sense. Like this, the comps are what they are when they're making the offer. So there's more in here than I probably even sent them to begin with. These are already pending, but they have, you know, obviously some solds in here, some that are active, just to kind of show them the difference. I basically just go in and leave a comment about why I think this is a great comp, what the differences are, what the differences in the areas are. And that would essentially become my CMA for them. So I probably wouldn't do it for 16 listings. Like this one is not the same. This has lake rights. Like I wouldn't put that in there. So like I'd go through 10 minutes, maybe narrow it down to like 10, depending on your client. If your client is somebody who you know that they're doing, like I have clients who do so much more research than I ever do for them during the transaction. I say they're like my favorite clients at the beginning of it. So if you have a super, super high touch client, maybe you want to add in more because you don't want to limit it to ones and then have to have that conversation like Bob, like you were saying from the beginning, why didn't you add in this one? So think about your client on this. I usually like to have like maybe 8 to 10 in there. I think that's enough. Add on a few comments, schedule a phone call, go through it, offers out. This works every single time. And the buyers feel so handheld through the entire thing. So I love this. So this is how I send out a CMA to a buyer before we make an offer. Any questions on that before I move forward?
Kate, just to be clear, the
Yeah.
one that's labeled CMA for a client, that is in a collection though, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're just calling it a CMA.
Yeah.
I got it.
And then I'll delete these after. So like I would go and delete this right now. Just so you don't clog your collections. Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, sorry. So here, we need to provide CMA evidence for our sellers that goes into our file for closing.
Okay.
So do you require that? And if so, do you just print a CMA and this is what you actually use? Like, what's the...
Yeah, we don't require anything. So this is just to help my buyers decide on what offer they want to make.
Oh, no, I get that. But we need to provide a CMA to show how we guided our buyers to get to their price.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, so maybe this would be, you could probably print this out. I don't see any problems with that. I would probably, for something that's more like a requirement, I would probably make them a duplicate CMA at the same point. This way they have like all the data right there. I just find this to be very helpful for my clients when they're making an offer, like when they're making an offer and I can talk to them through it. I think this is a little bit more user friendly, a little bit more visually appealing than the actual CMA tool for that reason. So I would
I think this is brilliant. I do this without the collections, and now I can't believe I tried to do this without collections. You know, I have just a sheet printout that I created off of our MLS, and then I would just refer to them all and why they're different, you know, how the prices are whatever, and why it's okay to, you know, make this offer, or why it's not okay to make that offer, as the case may be. But yeah, being able to see something visually is, you know, it's fantastic. So I really like this. I was just trying to go a step forward with my requirement is, okay, so how do I do this? So this is printable. This is something I don't know about collections. I could print all this. I mean, I wouldn't, but I mean,
I don't know.
Digital copy.
I don't think you can I don't think you can print it, but what I probably would do, like, let me see if I do all this.
Oh, Google spreadsheet, good enough. Yep.
Yeah, I think, I just want to do it with you guys just to kind of see. I'm learning with you as usual. This is why I love this group. So, okay, report generated. It's going to populate it. Let me see what that looks like. Yeah. So here you go. Property analysis right here. Let me see if it keeps your comments.
No, but
I don't think it does, but at least you have it.
Yeah, no, this is
And then you could,
fine.
oh, you could add all your notes down here if you wanted to.
Oh, no, that's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else, or we're good to show you my next trick? Okay, cool. So let me see which other one I have. So we have buyers, we have, did I do sellers CMA? I didn't talk about that, right? I'm not crazy. Okay. So this is one of them right here. You guys,
Going off. What's your problem?
okay. So this is something we just listed at the beginning of last week. This is it right here. This is our farm, by the way. So just so that you guys know, we like to, I might add in a few more if you like, I trashed them, but we had like 5 of these listings were ours that sold in the past 9 months, whatever it is. So I just put those trash because they're 1 bedrooms and we listed a 2, but this is a very specific property where they did some illegal work like 25 years ago. So this is like, we always knew this one was going to be a little bit more difficult with that. So it's kind of a 1 bedroom, but it's a 2. It's kind of complicated. So I might even end up adding in a few of these. This is something, again, I'm just for the sake of privacy. This is not the one that I actually shared with our sellers, but this is something that I love to add them into. I definitely bring a CMA, like a proper CMA, bind that, put it in the black book on our initial meeting, but I like to add them into this. And this would be an example. Like I actually didn't set this one up right because I was rushing right before this, but I'll actually just go do it with you guys. I would want to make this one a fluid one to make, if that makes sense from like the reasons I discussed before. So I would basically go in here, get all this, do this, just to make it specific. This is just a nuance. You guys don't need to do that. Okay, and I'm going to do pending, sold
Dang it.
in the past 360. Okay, so let's just do this. I would do save as a collection. Let's use Corinne again. I think that's why she's calling me to say what's going on. I would do the Meadows CMA. And then I'm going to do review and hand pick, create collection. Now it's in here. So now you guys will see I have like the edit criteria in here. So this would be something like I'd go through. These aren't in the right complex, but I'd go through and I'd keep this. So as another one got listed in the Meadows, it's a like 60% chance it's listed with us. So this might not be like the best example, but I'd add it right into there. Doesn't really matter if somebody else listed one in there. Great. I'm going to be confused as to why they didn't list with us, but fine. That will go into unshared. And then I just keep adding these in. So this would be updated throughout the length of time that my seller was on the market. And it's also, once again, very helpful because even though we discussed the comps at the beginning and, you know, we got the price we wanted and this all worked out for us very quickly, it's still very helpful to refer back to once you actually start getting offers in, to remember, okay, let's go back. Let's just review the comps one more. If you're, especially if you're trying to negotiate a little bit lower right now, which is what's happening in, I'm sure, a lot of our markets again. This is very helpful to just go back in as a reminder and say, hey, let's just go back through the collection one more time. Let's take another look at the price per square foot. Let's take another look at the ones that sold in the last 6 months. Maybe this offer isn't that bad. And I can tell you why, because X, Y, and Z properties actually were a little bit more updated. Maybe this one wasn't, whatever it is. So you can use this throughout the entire time, especially for something like my listing that's been on the market for 75 days. This is very helpful, again, because in the unshared, as more and more listings come on the market and as more and more listings go into pending or close, they get those alerts that are already in the collection. So this is basically how I would set that up. Any questions on this? It's all basically the same tool. It's just you're using it for different reasons, but the setup is the same.
Do they get them automatically? So if they're in the collection and it's active and it goes pending, they just get a notification. You don't have to do anything.
Correct. So that's a really good thing to say. So let's say I add in 165J. This happens to be the actual listing itself, but like this is going to go into pending tomorrow. So because it's shared with them, don't delete it from there. So if you have comps in here from the beginning that you were comparing it to, do not remove them from the collection, because if you do, they won't be automatically notified. If you keep them in there, they will be automatically notified, which is, again, a great reminder to them that you don't need to tell them, hey guys, by the way, our direct comp just went under contract. in half the amount of time. And it was this, it's like, they'll get that notification right in there. And then they're going to say, shit, why'd this happen? And then they're going to have a conversation with you. So that's a really important thing. Thank you for bringing that up. Keep all your comps in here, because then they're automatically going to get those updates as the status changes. Let me just check the chat really quick. What is your notification schedule? Heather, do you mean like for what I get notified by, or what the client gets notified by?
Well, just how often we notify them. Like sometimes I feel like it's too many to get a daily update for your CMA and your search for your what you're buying, or like what's a good rhythm?
I would say, like, if I go into, oh, sorry, it's actually in settings. Sorry. I don't know. I think it all depends on your client. If you have, again, if you have like a super, super high touch client who is checking every single day, keep them on every day. But if you have a client, and this is maybe something to bring up in your initial conversation, say, I'm going to have you on this. What is your preferred notification schedule? Maybe that's something that they decide for themselves. So like for here, I don't have a client in here, but whatever, let's just say I did. I would probably do like collection activity. Maybe collection activity you can do immediately. I don't really see there being anything wrong with that. If your client only wants it once a day, that's fine. Or if your client wants it weekly, that's also fine. I think this is also going to have to move as the market moves. So like as we start having listings staying on for longer and longer, maybe you want that weekly so that you don't have a daily phone call from your client. Because again, remember, as they're notified, you're controlling when they're going to call you about that. So if you really only want them getting updated on this weekly, set it as weekly. But I do think that daily is very helpful for them, especially being a seller. If I was a seller, I would consider myself to be a high touch person, but I would probably want to know as soon as it happens so that they could get ahead of it. All right.
I found on my collections, when I comment on particular properties in the little comment section, I get feedback pretty regularly. When I don't make comments, my clients don't tend to comment as well. So I don't get that many phone calls from my clients. They tend to just use what they see as text messaging.
Right, yeah.
So that's a training, if you will, or behavior shaping thing that I do with my buyers on the collection, is to go through them. It goes automatically, but then I go through and point out this is a good comp because this is probably not relevant because, and then I get feedback from them. And then I ask them to trash the ones they don't ever want to see. I'm thinking now, if I might not do that, I might, if they trash them, I can't bring them back for comps later. Is that the case?
I don't know. Let me see. No, you can go back and reshare it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another thing. But I think it's a very important point. Like, you are behavior shaping. So like the more that you comment, the more that the client's going to say, oh, this seems to be how Cate communicates. Maybe I'll drop a comment on here. And then I just have those clients who I love to pick up the phone. I swear I was born at like 45 years old, guys. I know I'm not my age, but I love to pick up the phone. I like to talk people through it. I like to be done with the conversation after we both hang up and know that we're on the same page. So know your client. If it's all gonna be the same thing. If there's somebody who doesn't like to get on the phone, like I have like a lot of my younger clients who don't like to get on the phone with me, work it in there, but really start to shape them in that. And the more that you leave comments, the more they're going to know. And also the more likely they are to see it. So like if you just add it, maybe that one notification in the middle of their workday, they missed it. So if you go back and re-comment later on, they're more likely to go and see it. Say, hey, just wanted to make sure you saw this one.
How does the
just a reminder, like for me, I find half of my clients, when I get a comment back, I'll say, would it be easy to talk on the phone? And they're like, oh, I'm in a meeting for 2 hours. It's like, okay. But that for the next 2 hours, they're commenting on everything. So you don't know what people are doing and why they can and can't talk to you. But I always find that pretty funny. Nope, in a meeting, can't talk. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
So Cate, when you put in a comment, how does the client get notified of the comment? is that like an email? Is it a text
It's
message?
it's an email, or it's or I think they also can like get a notification basically like through the app, like if they go in and they check their notifications in the Compass app. But they'll always get an email.
Okay.
Kate left a comment on, or Kate added, I think the terminal is Kate added a comment on. So you'll look out for those emails. All right. Okay, good. And then I'm being asked, can everybody please, Brooke, what is it? Did you guys like my session? Okay.
Yes.
Let me know if you guys like my session. There's a poll popping up. I would be an absolute awful like TV host, like how Ellen does it. Like she like prompts people. I'd be like, they're asking me to do this.
Okay. It's always good though, Kate.
All right, they liked it. Oof. Thank God.
Always across the board.
God. Whew. Guys, I'm sweating over here. All right, good. I'm very happy you liked it. Cool. And then any questions? I mean, if you guys like, if you have an idea for what you want to use a collection on, but you can't really figure it out, send me a text or send me an email and we can always do this next week too, a little bit more. Or if there's any tool, actually, what would be really helpful for me is if there's another tool that you guys want to know how I use, send me an email and I'll try to work on like a deck or something, or like do another thing like this so that I know where you guys really want to focus on. I just want to make sure it's really helpful for you guys. And if you're curious, let me know. Marketing Center, business tracker, likely to sell. I mean, literally anything it is. I know how to use all this stuff. So just let me know.
We are good on the poll. Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Kate,
Thank you, Kate. Have a wonderful day.
This is not anything about what we talked about today.
Okay.
I was not able to be on the after budget session.
Okay.
When you do the budgets, it's daily, weekly. So you just go in at the end of the day, add up all your dailies and put them in there. Because I'm starting with my 3 months one. So I wasn't sure how to handle the daily when I'm starting with the 3 months.
Yeah. So back to like the business expense spreadsheet.
Yes. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yes.
No, it's fine. So that would be such a beautiful thing if I did that every single day and my accountant would be so happy with me. I don't do that. So what you'll do in there is I think when you put in, and I'll have to ask my fiance because he actually built it for me. So let me know if I need to yell at him. But I think the way he set it up was when you put in your monthly, it has a formula in there that automatically calculates your daily from that. Am I correct, guys, on that? Okay. Cool.
So I go backwards.
Go backwards. Yes.
That makes so much, because I have just been, oh my gosh.
What do I spend today? I know. I'd be like $5 on Starbucks, another $3 on Greta toys that she doesn't need. I'm like, okay, great. We're doing well today.
And then I'm doing all the last 3 months and trying to parse them out. And it's like,
no.
I'm not a finance person.
Oh yeah, me neither. So no, I'm the same way. Put in your monthly. I think it's easier because a lot of us are probably charged on monthly, or if like a subscription, put it in monthly, it'll calculate your daily average.
Oh my gosh, you made my life so much easier and less stress.
I'm so happy.
This has been making me crazy.
Oh my God. No. And then email me if you have any problems with it, let me know.
Okay.
I'll put you on the phone with the better data guy than me, Matt.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Great question, Linda. Thank you.
Well, I just saw only one that was this bad. It was like,
no, guys,
Rob's gonna fail me.
I know. Oh my God. No, we never fail you guys. And everybody in my class always gets an A+. But like, that's such a thing. Like as you guys can tell, I'm like a very, very chill person. If you guys have a question, please like, don't be embarrassed and just say it. Like, cause there's so many people who have the same question and I might not just be thinking about that. So like, if you ever have a question, please pose it to the group or shoot me an email if you don't want to say it to you, whatever it is, but I want to answer as much as I can for you guys. So great question. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
It helped out so many people today.
This was great.
Good.
Yeah, this is a great class, Kate, and thank you so much. And I'm excited about the CMA challenge coming up because there's so many missing puzzles in our knowledge. So practice with the charge with your good class is really motivating. Thanks so much. I love your blouse color today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can we do this every day? I always leave with so much confidence.
Oh no, you look so smart.
Thank you. Kate, on the CMA challenge, can we use collections?
I don't see why not. Guys, with the CMA challenge, get the CMA to somebody however you feel. Why don't you guys do a CMA challenge? I don't know if Robert's going to come.
I've done it already.
Okay, well, do it again and just add the people to a collection. You don't even have to mail or email them anything.
Okay.
That's how I feel. So I'm participating, so looking forward to it. Just repetition and practice and my
Right.
pickup.
But I'm
Wise
gonna do it
runs
differently
along
this
the way.
time.
Get creative with it. Who cares? If you guys want to like black book it and then send it to people, great. If you just want to add them to a collection, awesome. Just get the CMA to them somehow.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Guys,
Have a great day.
have a good
Great
day.
session.
Bye, guys.